Someone's excited. Hi there, Prairie Plant Girl here. Well, I was out here on Monday, as you may have seen the video just a few days ago, and cleared off some old leaves and grass clippings and things off of one of my beds, put it in the composter. I also added I was collecting some garden kitchen waste in this bucket that wasn't fitting in my compost bin anymore over the winter, and I dumped that out because once my compost bin starts to melt in the spring, I can usually get the rest of this pushed in there. So I'd added all that in, given it a really good stir. I dumped maybe 2 jugs, maybe a couple of gallons of water in there. Might not even been that much water. I dumped the water in, got the kitchen scraps and the grass and the leaves and everything all stirred in and mixed in there, closed it up again, put my compost thermometer in. Right then I think it was reading right around 40 Fahrenheit. I'll throw some pictures in because I took some photos of the thermometer the last few days. It's been slowly heating up. And today I came out, just had a little bit of kitchen scraps that I was going to just throw in the top. I find for the first few days I can usually just add a little bit on top and it doesn't cause any problems with the whole method here of trying to get the hot compost going. So I came out to do that anyways. I had another container and then I had this one here, and when I came out I was surprised to see that my compost is already heated up to the point where if I leave it much longer, if I leave it another day, it's probably going to overheat and become anaerobic. I do find this first one of the spring does heat up really, really well. I don't know if it's all the grass clippings and leaves from the fall and that does it, but something just gets it really heated up for me. I just seem to get the right ratios for this spring one. So I want to stay on top of it so I don't lose that action that's going on in there. So I thought I'd bring you along just so you could see this. As we sit here, it's 5 degrees Celsius, windy, cold. It's been getting down to close to freezing at night, and my bin's still heating up quite hot. So I'm going to bring you in a bit closer, have a look. So warning, it's compost. There's going to be old rotten food and things in there. So if you don't want to see that, maybe, skip past this part. But that's what composting is, and it makes wonderful soil that you can use in your garden and feed your soil and feed your plants. It creates lots of great bacteria and microbial activity. I love it. So let's get going. Okay, so here's the bin. This is just some bird seed that's sitting on here. I actually need to dump it because it rained and snowed a little bit yesterday. But, hopefully you can see the thermometer here. It's sitting at about 150. If I move it around, it stays right around that 149, 150 point there. Even if I go as deep as it'll go. I don't know how well you can see that there with this bin. But really you don't want to get past that 149, 150 kind of stage, because then you can start to get kind of a white mold going and get some anaerobic action happening. It gets too hot for all those little microbes and things. So let's take our thermometer out of the way. With the lid. This composter, by the way, see if I can see a brand on it. There's very similar styles to this that are a few different brands, I think, but I have a video when I bought this and put it together. I really like it. So I'll put that video link down below in case you're curious. It's an older video. I've used this for a lot of years, but it's been one of the best bins. I've had several kinds of bins, and this is one of the best bins that I've used. So you can see there's just a little bit of kitchen scraps. Now I'm going to do a turn every day, so I'm not going to add any more fresh product in here. And all I use, if I'm just stirring it, I just use, this is an old aluminum ski pole. It works really well. Optimally, you would pull everything out with like a pitchfork or something and put the center to the outside and the outside to the center. But and I will probably do that in probably a week, but for first turn or two here, this is probably all I'll need to do to just cool it down and then make sure the process keeps going. I find it gives a good mix, and it can get, this outside stuff can get just too cold, and I find just stirring it around too much, taking it all out in this weather can be hard on the compost, so until I get it really going, this is how I like to do it. In the summer, I'd be more diligent about taking it all out and repacking it at least once a week, and then stirring it the other days. But you can hopefully see how that kind of churns the layers together just doing this. So it's not some fancy compost stir, you know, this is just an old ski pole from a garage sale, I think. And I don't know if you can see the steam that just came off the pole from pulling it out of there. It's hot in there. So I had this packed when I did it the other day, and I had to really push to get the lid on. And hopefully you can see now the amount that it has sunk down. It's quite a bit. So there, I've given that a good stir. I'll try and kind of bring this stuff that's a little higher on the outside edge into the middle. This pole is warm where I'm touching it now, just from that little bit of stirring. If I held it in there too long, I probably wouldn't, even with it being, I'm sure it's an aluminum pole, but it still seems to hold a little bit of heat to it. So there, I'll leave it like that. We'll pop the thermometer and see if that kind of cooled it down a little bit. Give that a minute. We're looking for 130 to 140. That's about our perfect spot. Looks like it slowed down there around 135. Oh, it's still going a little bit. So it looks like it stopped at about 140. I'll keep an eye on it in the next little while here, and if it does keep creeping up back to that 150 point, then I will have to come out and pull it apart and bring the center out, and I'll just put that into like a bucket or a wagon or something, and then I can move kind of the outside edges in towards center and repack from the stuff that I took out from the center back out around the edges. It's a bit of a job. It's a good workout, but it does help to keep the heat going. Sometimes I find though when you take that center out in the spring here, it can cool down just too much, and I have trouble getting it back going again sometimes when I do that. So I prefer to just stir it a couple times till there's lots of microbes just throughout the whole pile really doing their job. But that might be what I have to do because it still looks like it's moving here. Okay, I just looked again. It looks like it's stopped at about 140, so hopefully it stays there. I'd be okay with that, but I'll definitely be checking on it. And anytime it gets back up to that about 150 range, I will be giving it another stir. Otherwise, I'll just be stirring it every 2 days. And we should get a warm day here in a couple of days. It looks like we'll get something that's in the teens Celsius. And if we do get a high like that, then that would be a really good day for me to come out and do that whole transfer from the middle of the bin to the outside and swapping the two. And that's what I'll do then. But like I said, it's like 5 Celsius today, so not really a great day for that. It will usually warm back up, but sometimes it just seems to, if I take too long, it loses its strength somehow. I don't know. Just on a side note, I thought some of you might find this interesting. So this bin here has pretty much just leaves in it. I did throw a little bit of the leaf grass clipping mixture off some of my garden beds that didn't fit in the other bin the other day. And I just stuck the thermometer. This should be right about the middle of this bin because it's smaller. And you can see the difference in temperature between the two bins right side by side. So this doesn't have the greens in it really, it just has browns, and so it's not hot at all. Just sitting there waiting to add them into my other bin when I need them. But I thought some of you might find that interesting. You know, I get a lot of questions about composting, so that's kind of what I try to do throughout the whole year. This is my spring setup, getting it started, and seems to have worked well for me for, I don't know, 3-4 years now I've been doing this. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time. Bye. Buster, hey. What do you have? What do you have? That's not food, no. That's not food.